Hey everybody, what's going on? Hope you guys been enjoying the content on the channel as of late. Off to go pick up my bro. So just excuse us, we're doing another one of these driving vids. So just excuse the shakiness, if there's any, and all the other stuff that may or may not happen in the video. As you can tell by the title of this video, this is going to be a pretty different video. Not your typical, movie-related type of content, because I just got done with college. Yeah, I just got done with college. I'm gonna say, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago now. I think it's been about 2 or 3 weeks. By the time this video gets posted, though, it'll be about a month. So I figured I would do a video to kind of talk about, just kind of archive, my experience of college, and, kind of give you guys a kind of a perspective, for anybody who's going off to college. You just kind of want to, give a perspective of things. Anybody who's watched this channel, you guys already kind of know what my deal is with college, but just to kind of dedicate a video to it, I figured I might as well just, just do a whole video. So I'm not sure if the video is going to be clean or not. So this is all kind of experimental right now, because last time I filmed on my little thing here, shit got kind of wacky. So I don't know how this is all gonna go down, but we'll see. So I might record this again because this video might get a little wobbly. So so far it's not too bad. So I'm just gonna break it down. So I've been to college. I went to college for 4 years. I went to a community college, Palomar College, I'm gonna say this right up front, because I'm gonna take an L on at the beginning, because some people don't usually do this. People will talk about, it was all in this grand design or this and that. I'm just gonna keep it 100, okay? When I was in high school, I was a super lazy dude, okay? I didn't give a fuck about really going to college. I wasn't really thinking about that kind of stuff. I actually really resented the idea of adulthood, to be honest with you. I was not about becoming an adult. There's a stereotype that goes with being a young kid. Like kids think that being an adult is super fun and all that sort of stuff. And believe me, there are, there's a lot of freedoms that come with being an adult. But being where I was, because I was a very different kid, compared to other. I was an outsider pretty much in high school. But I had more of an insight. I just knew that shit wasn't gonna be easy. I was seeing how my parents were, and I was just like, damn, I don't know if I want to be there. I don't know if I want to be in that position. So I wasn't really all that excited for adulthood. So, but I had ideas to go to a film school initially. But because I was super lazy, I never fell through with it. I think I did an application for it, and I'm not gonna say names just because I don't want to put people on blast or anything. But that school in particular, I kind of got a bad experience with them. They kind of treated me kind of poorly. Kind of scam artists in a way, because every time I would put out for an application, they would always be asking for some kind of payment, even though I already put down an application. I went through all those processes. They're like, oh no, now we need this payment, now we need this, now we need that. Can you pay it again? Can you pay it again? Can you pay it again? That kind of deal. I was like, you know what? No, I'm not gonna go through all this, Especially because I started realizing, that shit is not cheap. I was a young kid, so I didn't know better. I was like, oh, okay, shit, film school, shit, let's go, But when I actually looked at, reality and seeing how much that shit was going to cost and all that, I eventually was like, you know what, probably not, And again, I was super lazy, so I didn't really pursue it. So, And back then, dog, I would compare myself to a lot of people. Like, when we were, because I don't know if you guys did this in high school, where you would, like, put down what college you're going to, if you are going to college. We did that, right? And I was signing mine. I was doing Palomar College, and the person right next to me said Harvard University, and I immediately erased mine because I just felt so embarrassed, to even put that name down there. In hindsight, now going through college, I don't really fucking care, where you go. I don't care if you go to Harvard. I don't care if you go to Stanford. I don't care if you, what was it, Chaplin, right? I don't know what other fucking colleges there are. Like, I don't really care because, going through the system, which is now where I'm going to start talking about college a little bit, it's shady, dude. I mean, it's shady, and I'm gonna tell you the last thing that I went through with this system. So, and no disrespect to Palomar, Palomar, hey, it was a cool place. I met some nice people there, but it gave me an insight as to how the college system goes. 'Cause this is just how it is on a regular basis, because I got some insight talking to like teachers, some students. Like, I met this guy who he was working for some major in mechanics, right? Something in that field. And he couldn't get a class done, or a class wasn't available, so he had to wait a whole year, right, doing some classes that would mean nothing, and to get to that class, to then only find out that this is only to graduate here. You want to transfer? Oh, you got a whole list of other shit that you got to do. So there's another 3 or 4 years you got to dedicate yourself to. So it's like, hearing all that, I was like, shit, dude. I mean, that's pretty rough, because I think he wanted to transfer. So, having to go through all the other stuff that he had to go through, it's like, I felt bad for the dude, like, because everything is basically against you at college, in terms of what you sorry, I don't know what the hell's going on right there with that dude. You can kind of see him right there. But yeah, there's a lot of shit stacked against you. There's a lot of loopholes and, a lot of weird nonsense. Like, here's my situation. Like, I'm getting an AA, right? And I know the legitimacy of what I got. All right, it's not that crazy, But the process of getting just the certification, right, just the paper, is crazy. So you got to put out an evaluation sheet, right, to graduate, right? Now, my situation, I'm not walking, all right? I'm not doing the fucking ceremony, okay? I'm not doing that shit, For one thing, I mean, I hate crowds, but, for another, my certification is not really like that legit anyway, I'm not about to have someone on a loudspeaker say, hey, look at you got an AA, what's up, I don't want that, so just embarrass myself, but because I know the legitimacies of what I have, I'm not about to be out here saying, look what I got, I'm more like, oh, okay, it's whatever, and I'll just be real with you, like, like, I wanted to quit a while ago, I wanted to quit, I think, by like year 3, because I saw how I was performing, and I just saw just the trajectory of what I was doing, and I was just like, this is kind of useless to me, like, I'm kind of wasting a lot of time here, because I was starting to build up relationships with my family. I was also starting to be a little more of a realist, starting to kind of, put my shit together, really thinking about what I value more, what's important to me. And college just became more and more, it just became minimal, it didn't really mean anything. And, like, yeah, I mean, it was just, it's been something that's been percolating for a while. But to go back to what I was saying, though, about getting your certification. So, my situation is unique because I'm in, this is going to be confusing, so follow me here. So, this is something I didn't even know. So, the college system, at least for me anyway, my college, they changed their requirements and their standards and their ethics and all that. They change that every fucking year. So there's some shit that they add on or take away from certain majors, right? So you could be working on one plan, right? And then come for evaluation time. If you're not told by a counselor that, you know, you have to write down a very specific kind of format to put on the sheet, right? Like for me, I'm putting down, what did I put down? I put cinema, I think it was cinema studies or something like that. 21, 22, right? That year period, that catalog period. That's where I'm eligible to get a degree or to get my certification. If you don't put that shit down, my camera just went all crazy. My bad. If you don't put that shit down, they will think that you're trying to meet the new requirements for that year, the year that you're in. Say like this year, 2023. You'll be denied your certification. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be very, very, very specific to, like, you know, to get what you want, you know, to show that you did the work, you know. And to me, that's fucked, because, you know, a lot of people wouldn't know that. And here they going like 2 or 3 years for another to match up with this catalog, to then find out 2 or 3 years later, oh shit, everything's changed again. You know what I mean? Because the catalog changes every year, the standards change every year. So that's how they fuck you over, dude. You know? And I mean, think about these motherfuckers who have like student loans, and, you know, they're having to pay off all this shit. They no longer are like tied down to like other things like FAFSA and shit. Like, they won't, because I had to fight for my last year of FAFSA too, man. I mean, they wouldn't give me my last year. We had to talk to them for a little bit, and, you know, they actually gave me my money, because it was a 4-year plan, you know, so they couldn't grant me that last year for some reason. Thankfully, we talked them into it, and, you know, everything worked out. But yeah, it's like, you know. And on top of that, I just heard from my friend who had his wife's dad. He went to college for like 8 years to get his doctorate, which I heard it's like, what, it takes like 10 years to get, right? And he had to take this one test. This test, mind you, was not required for his degree or whatever he was getting, right? He takes his test, he fails it, and I'm assuming because of the standards change, right? Because the standards are all different now. They're not going by the old book. They're going by the new book, you know? They see that test maybe was a requirement within the new standard, but he ain't going by that standard. He's going by the old shit, you know? Because of that, they denied him everything. They didn't give him shit. They didn't give him his degree. They didn't give him anything because he failed this one test, right? And like I said, if it was anything, I bet you it has to be those standards that they've adjusted, you know, because they rotate every year apparently. So if you're not super specific, like very, very specific on what your shit is, you'll be denied it, you know. Again, that's how they fuck you over, you know. Not to mention, you know, not having classes available by a certain time, like, and then maybe being denied certain things that you were granted throughout the years, you know, like that's how it be, you know. And that's, you know, that to me is just so manipulative, so slimy, because they'll make it out as if it's like, oh, this was your problem, you need to know this shit. It's like, how was I gonna know that the standards change every year, you know? I was thinking that, you know, you put me on a plan and that's all I gotta do, you know? Because, you know, you go talk to counselors and shit, and they will, like, you know, they'll help you get a education plan in order and stuff like that. So you're going by what they give you, and when the shit doesn't match up, you're now asking yourself, well, okay, what the hell did I just invest all my time into? You know what I mean? So, and like I told you, that's how they get you. Sometimes that's how they get you, dog. If you are not on top of it, right, and you're not thinking clearly, you know what I mean? Like, that's how they'll get you. You know, you might just do another 2 or 3 years, and those 2 or 3 years were worthless. You didn't have to do those 2 or 3 years. You know what I mean? Like, knowing all that shit, and just knowing also the legitimacies of having degrees. I mean, we're talking about we're in a technological period, you know. So we got we've got AIs. Bruh, all those layoffs that just happened in May. You know what I mean? You don't think that shit's gonna get any bigger in the next coming years? You know what I mean? It's like nah. You know, like it's some shit's gonna be obsolete. You know, and also just by metric, by just what you have. You know, some of this doesn't really matter. You know, because. And people know this. People know this, you know, when they go to college. You know, once you're in that system for a little bit, excuse me if I take my hat off because I gotta park up. But people know this when they go to college, right? They know. Like most kids, when they invest into a certain major, that shit they change because they realize that this is not guaranteed. You know, I'm not gonna be able to have financial stability and all this shit. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to play, you know, all these games for a couple years to make ends meet and all that, you know, like, you know, and it's fucked, you know, it's fucked, and because of that, you know, and remember, as I've said before, some of these kids, they go to universities, they put in like thousands, like sometimes even like millions of dollars, bro, like, you know, they put in a ton of money, and now they're having to justify that investment. You know, they have to justify that investment because they're not about to just throw that all away. You know, because that's so much money on the table for you to get a certain kind of certification. You know what I'm saying? So, because who would want to go explain to their parents that, hey, I know you guys just spent like $10,000 to put me in this college, but I'm not going to go to this college anymore. You know what I mean? Like, what kid wants to do that, you know? So now they're having to justify their whole existence. And what do they do? They change majors. That's just the MO. I mean, how many kids you know go have like business majors? That's just, you know, because it's easy. It's easy. I've also heard it's the most easy thing to cheat on. But anyway, you know, not saying nothing, but you know, I just saw that statistic that somewhere. So, but it's all about the future, man. You know, you got to think about your future. You know, is it something worth investing into? And my answer to you guys is yes and no. You know, like, yes, I think that college is a benefit, but no, when you say that college is a benefit to everybody. It's a benefit to a few people. You know, I've seen a few people in college, bro, where they actually, you know, have something legit. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking about doctors, we're talking about nurses, we're talking about sports, we're talking about business majors. You know what I mean? Like, those dudes, they have something going on. You know what I mean? Or what's that called? Training school? I forgot what they call it, but that one type of major as well, like that shit's like guaranteed, you know. Like yeah, stuff like that, bro. It's like that's the stuff that college is built for, you know. College is not built for arts. College is not built for you know, for other things, you know what I mean? Like, because at the end of the day, it's not about putting in an education for that type of thing. It's just about knowing the right people, dog. Like, if you just know the right people, then that's all you got to do. That's it. That's really it. You just got to know the right people. You just got to start learning the business through them. Like, or like I said, dog, do your research. Just do your research. The internet is filled with shit. You know what I mean? So, just find some stuff. You know, inform yourself. You know what I mean? Because you don't always gotta do it to understand it, you know what I mean? Like, that's, you know what I mean? That's kind of stupid when people preach that, you know? There's some things you don't have to do to understand it, you know? Like, I don't need to catch myself. I don't need to put myself on fire to understand that, you know, the fire's hot, you know what I mean? I don't need to jump in a pool of sharks to understand that shit's stupid, you know what I mean? Like, there's just common sense, you know, that people don't usually use nowadays. They just, you know, they like to just make things overly complicated, you know, which is a lot what college is, bro. College is just a very overly complicated system with so many loopholes, so many ways to fuck you over. Like, there's people who are probably to this, like, I know 2 dudes who I worked out with at the gym at college, and they're still there. They're still there, and one of them has to wait for a whole year to get another class in, while the other, I think is in a similar situation where they're having to wait and wait and wait and wait because, like I said, the standards change every year. Thus, certain classes become more important, and then other classes don't become that important. Like, I had classes that need to be filled, right? And those classes, within, I think it was like my second year or so, they weren't available. So here I am for a whole year trying to like figure out what to do with other classes and stuff like that. Thankfully, there were other classes available for me to use to push towards my certification. But it's like, it's all luck at that point, like, I'm pretty sure there's people, I'm not pretty sure, I have met people who are just stuck, because the system won't allow them to move forward, and that is really fucking sad. And, thankfully, that's community college. Now think about the people at a university. Think about the people who invested thousands of dollars to go to these places. That's fucked, and they're having to justify everything. Every move they make, every decision they make, they have to justify all of it because they're putting in the money. They're the one with the loans. They're the one with all this other bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, that to me has got to be a shitty life. A shitty feeling. So, and let me just make it clear. This is not everybody's experience. You know what I mean? Some people probably got a really great experience at college. Like I said, it very much depends on the major that you have. Like, if you say you had a great experience at college, you probably are trying to be a doctor, trying to be this or that, or you're just blind to the system or blind to what your shit means in the grand scheme of things. You know what I mean? Because not everyone's degree means anything. You know what I mean? I know my shit doesn't matter, and I could point out other degrees that just don't matter. You know what I mean? All the art stuff, it's cute, but it don't mean nothing. You know what I mean? Like, it's great, yeah, you did a couple theater, yeah, you painted some shit, yeah, whatever. But do you know a guy that knows a guy? If you don't, then that's how it be, bro. That's how it be. There's people that I've seen online who got master's degrees, and those motherfuckers are working at Starbucks. You know what I mean? So it's like it's all about what it is. You know what I mean? It's not about what you have, it's about what it is. What are you trying to do? What is the goal? What is the major? What is the career? And what do you actually need for it? And in my case, I didn't need that thing. I didn't need an AA, but my mom, for her satisfaction, she wanted, one of her kids, to, because also I had the added pressures of being, I just want to check the time real quick, hold up. Okay, we're good. There's the added pressure of, being the first kid to go to college and to actually make it out of college was something, so there's that added pressure as well. Anybody who's been through that situation can attest to that. It's just like, damn, you know what I mean? Like I kind of have to, like I said, I personally wanted to leave, but my mom wanted that satisfaction, so I said, fuck it, okay, I guess I'll go through this last year. I mean, hey, at least I'm getting something from, you know what I mean? Like, at least I was getting, like, help from FAFSA and other things like that, so there was more of a motivation to finish, But if I had it my way, dude, I mean, I probably would have stepped away a long time ago. Like, if I'm just being real. Like, if I had my way, I would have just said, yeah, no thanks. But because there's that added pressure that was there, you know what I mean? It's like, I didn't want to disappoint my parents. You know what I mean? Like, in that respect, I don't really give a fuck about, appeasing people and all that shit. But, when you're that close, I guess, because by the point that I wanted to leave, I was pretty damn close to finishing. So it was like, you know what I mean, just buckle down, for a couple more months, and then, just ride it out, so but it all boils down to what it is, and, the like that literally is the dictator of the measure of the legitimacies of what you got, you know. So mine's the cinema thing. It don't mean shit. And for other people, like if it's business, if it's a doctor, if it's something sports related or whatever like that, it means a lot, bro. The science and shit like that, you know, yeah, that shit matters because the reason why it matters, right, is because those degrees are going to be a requirement in order to access those industries, right? You don't need a film degree to go into film. You don't need a theater degree to get into acting. You don't need a an art degree to become a painter or to become I don't know, what the fuck they like the motherfuckers who do the clay and shit like that. Like you don't need a degree for all that. You just need to know people, you know. So that's why the shit like business stuff like that matters more in college, because at the end of the day, it's a requirement. It's something that will matter. It will be essential for them in the future. For other people like myself, it doesn't matter down the road because the industry doesn't need that sort of thing. They don't even see that sort of shit and really care about that kind of stuff anyway. It's all about talent, politics. I mean, if you fuck with if you ride with the liberals, like, hey, then yeah, you can walk right in that industry. You know what I'm saying? So, but since I'm all conservative, then you know, I mean, they ain't gonna fuck with me. So, but, but that's how it be, dude. I mean, it's unfair, but at the same breath, though, like, you got to use common sense. You got to do your research. I look at some of these people and I'm like, yeah, dude, you got to do some research on what's going on. You know, it's not as black and white as you're making it out to be, you know, and there's a lot of opportunities for you to get fucked over. Like, you need to kind of assess your situation. I've always said it, bro. Know before you go. Or, you know, just like do your research to really look at stuff and see, is this really worth investing into, you know? And you might just realize that, nah, bro, this ain't it for me. Like I did. I was like, nah, this is not really for me. You know, yeah, I mean, I'll finish it just so I have my AA. I mean, just so I can set some kind of example, you know, for my bro and all that. Because I mean that's important too. You know, I want to set a good example for my bro. But I'm gonna be realistic with him, dog. You know, I'm not about to just say that, hey, you know, college is all this and that. Like, I might just show him this video. You know what I mean? Like, that's like, he needs to know this stuff. You know, because people get so disappointed, you know, when they go to college. No, there isn't any shock that the student rate, you know, for people attending college is lower than it's ever been. You know, people are just becoming more realizing of how the system is, you know. And you know, it is a benefit, but it's a benefit to a very specific type of person, you know. And if you are in that group, then fuck. I mean, live it up, bro. I mean, do what you got to do. You know, I fuck with it. You know, go. I'll support you. You know, do your 4 or 5 years, whatever you got to do. But if it really isn't that essential, and if you know a dude who's in that business, yo, I would just say, just roll with that dude and just see what happens, man. But at the same breath, have a job, have a plan B, you know, make sure you got some shit planned behind you, so that whatever you're working on in the front, you know, if that shit backfires, at least you got something to roll back on, you know what I mean? So, or just, you know, really think about what you want for your future, you know. And that's something that I've really done a lot of, is really thinking about what I want for my future, what is important for me. Stability, bro, is what, and I mean that in every sense, mentally, physically, financially. That to me is what's really important in my life right now. I want to make sure that I'm stable. I want to make sure that I'm keeping myself level-headed, you know. Like, that to me is way more important than airing out my shit, talking about my problems, you know, or telling stories that may or may not correlate to how I feel, you know what I mean? I'm not about that right now. I'm about taking care of myself. I'm about here for my bro. I'm here to make sure that he gets a killer high school experience. Like, that's my life right now, guys. That's my life. I'm here to support my family. I'm here to make sure that they're going to be all good. So, you know what I mean? Like that's the life right now, man. And I'm here for it. And I'm really excited, I'm really excited to see where my bro goes, man, because he's a smart dude, man. I mean, yeah, he's young. He could sometimes be a bit stubborn, but I mean, I think he's got it, bro. I think he's very smart. I think he's very intelligent. I think that he's really, really legit, and I'm excited to see where he goes. And that to me is what my future is. My future is with my family, to help support. I'm here to love. I'm not here to think about myself. Yeah, I'm here to take care of myself at the same time, but it's all love. Right now, bro, guys. And that to me is very important. And I wouldn't have gotten to that place if I haven't really taken the time to think, did my research and all that shit. A lot of people don't get to that place because they just assume things. They presume, they think that, oh, this and that is this how it goes. No, you need to do your research. You need to talk to people, see how things are, because some things might be a bit shitty. You might be in a shitty situation and you may not know it. So, but that is my thoughts, guys, on college. I'm just checking the time. Yeah, we're still good. That is my whole, this video's gone for like 30 minutes. Kind of went on a bit of a tangent, so excuse me, but yeah, I mean, I'm happy to be done with college, man. I mean, I'm just, I'm just happy to just start moving forward, with adult life. So, but you guys know your thoughts about going to college. If any of y'all are going to college, or if you guys are finishing college, or if you guys are still in college, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And that's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Again, this is just my experience of college. It's not everybody's experience. Some of you guys might have it better than others. I think it's all about what major you got at the end of the day. But that's just where I'm coming from. So, but that's my thoughts, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. And until then, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.